What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Public Course Golf Podcast. Now this is like 3 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, so we are fulfilling our promise. Yeah.
We even got new mics. We got little.
Well, speaking of new mics, so was it last week when I said, what would it be if we needed to get a new co-host? We did a national search.
Yeah.
And finally we decided to keep Mike, but we got new mics.
We got new mics.
Yes.
2 of them. So we got actual.
We don't have chest hair that looks like kind of a touch of gray.
A little cat's tail. We're trying to decide if we should go if we hold like this, like fancy podcasters or newscasters, or if we clip them.
Like coming to you live from like you can interview me like
outside of Todd's Bakery here with Paul. Paul, tell them about the bakery.
Well, we make those jellies roll.
So we'll see. I'm gonna clip it here and we'll go from there. But
yeah,
hopefully the audio sounds a little better.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't sink down to where we pass gas.
And you can hear it on our butts.
Why do you say it like that?
I don't know.
Well, anyways, it's good to be back. We it's almost like an emergency podcast. Well, we were going to do this anyways, but man, with all the free agency, we could have been like a breaking news podcast.
It's wild. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been for not just the Vikings, but the entire NFL has just been bonkers. The Vikings very much affected by it.
Well, yeah, and just the increase in salary cap, it seems like everybody and their brother can get paid. Now $1 million, like what is going to be enough money anymore? We had a whole conversation about that one time, not on a podcast, where you and I were like, how much money is enough money?
Right.
Well, now it's like, if you just stepped on the field to remove the kicking tee after the kickoff, you get paid $5 million.
Dude, it's so
and that's all guaranteed.
All guaranteed. 4.8 guaranteed. The other 200,000 are going to be a signing bonus.
Yeah, signing bonus. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and for you guys, if you're not maybe NFL fans, that's fine. I know some of you guys are not that are watching. But we're going to lead it off with the Vikings talk, and Kirk Cousins is gone.
Kirk Cousins is gone. And
we just talked about that last week on what our guesses are.
Yeah.
And
leading up to that, I felt like two things. I thought maybe there's an outside chance that he was still going to be with us because, we've had him for 6 years. He's consistent. You got JJ, who's got a great relationship with him. Him coming back at the last home game that I was at against the Packers. We were at the game.
Yeah.
He came out with his shirt off with Kirk Chains and
it's going nuts.
And crowd's going nuts. It's like he's kind of made a mark here. And when you think about our time watching the Vikings, he really truly is kind of the quarterback of our time. As far as
6 years.
6 years, most productive, even though it's one playoff win. We'll get to that in a second. But
yep.
So it's kind of a big deal. I thought since there hadn't been any leaking yet, just all this, reading all these headlines about maybe Atlanta, maybe this, and then it ended up being Atlanta. But when I read, I think I was texting you on Sunday night when it said he's going to let the Vikings know that night.
Yep.
Made me feel like he's doing the common courtesy because Kirk's so polite.
Yep.
Of saying, hey, I'm letting you guys know now.
Because next day is when technically the legal tampering period began.
It's all made up.
Oh, yeah.
It's all.
I mean, all this stuff is talked
about. NCAA stuff. I mean, it's those guys would be fined for all kinds of things. How could you 2 hours later after it's done, like at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
So because it's 11 o'clock Central.
Yep.
2 hours later, they already have the terms for the agreement.
Right. It's all done in place.
No way. That was all done before. But
like you said, though, to be polite.
Yeah.
Because
so that was a sign. Did you think it was a sign?
I did too.
Yeah,
and right when you said it, it made all sorts of sense.
Yeah.
Of just being polite, wanting to let you know, hey,
I'm going to test free agency.
Yeah.
Which basically is the code for I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we could match it. And then when I got that, I was in my car driving back from lunch, and I heard that, I stopped at home. But I don't know what time it was. It was like 1 o'clock, wasn't it? Basically, or
sounds about right.
12:30 or so.
Because it wasn't right away.
No, it wasn't right away. And
no.
And then I was driving back to school, and I heard that actually they had a guy on talking about it, and he was reading the tweet as it happened from the agent. And that's why I sent you that text, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah. Because
it was immediate. I saw it and I texted you right away.
Yeah.
So it must have been right when that tweet hit, and then it's got tons of retweets. But there was no terms of the contract at that point. It just said, "I'm excited for Kirk in Atlanta."
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, well, it's kind of sad a little bit because I'm like, okay, new regime, new change. Like when you have to change over from the most important position and player on your team, whether it's the Vikings or anybody else. Think about your own team, whether you're not a Viking fan out there. I know there's a good buddy I have who also teaches, who's a big Packer fan.
2 thumbs down.
But you can relate, like your biggest, player on your team leaves.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking a little bit. Like you thought it could happen, but when it actually happens, you're like, but there was no terms of the contract, and so at that point I was like a little bit uneasy. Mm-hmm. But man, in the middle of my concert choir when I was conducting, and all of a sudden I got a tweet, I had my phone watch, and all of a sudden it says what his contract terms were. Boy, I felt a lot better about it.
4 years, $180 million, $100 million guaranteed, and then a $50 million signing bonus. So in 2024, his income will be just contract money will be $90 million.
You kidding me?
Yeah, there's no. To me, there was a whole thing on K-Fan, and I thought this before K-Fan. So K-Fan, you could hire us,
right?
They said, does that make it easier? Think about all the Kirk Obos out there, people that love Kirk, just are in love with him, and I would probably fell more towards that than not, but I wasn't like in love with Kirk, but I
would put myself right there
kind
too.
of that, if there's the center, I'm more towards the Kirk side.
Yeah.
And so which is why I felt kind of like, oh my gosh, we have a new quarterback here, before the terms were set in, and then they told the money. That made it so much easier to say sayonara.
Bye.
There's no way we could ever give that money with Justin Jefferson, and also trying to build our team. Like I'm thinking about Atlanta. What are they going to spend their money on now?
They're going to bank on Bijan Robinson, Kyle. There are 4 or 5 pieces they have in place. Yeah. That's it. I don't know. I mean, we would have been way too strapped. Obviously, Danielle Hunter went to Houston. He got 2 years, $50 million or $48 million.
Well, the writing was on the wall with that when we picked up that Denard guy.
Yeah, and he was Houston's outside linebacker.
Yeah, and he 12.5 sacks last year.
So,
and he's younger than Danielle.
Got 4 years, $72 million.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, something like that. And it was going to be cheaper than Danielle.
Yep.
When we signed him, it was like, okay, Danielle's going.
Yeah.
But so good. Yeah, we can talk about the overall signings, but going back to Kirk, it just makes it easier to feel like there's no way. Like that seems almost outrageous. Yes, he's been serviceable, and he's probably like lucked out on his timing of when his contracts are due. Mm-hmm. And his stats are so good, and he's a good person too. He's really likable as a human being. Like you can't really say you don't like Kirk Cousins.
Right.
That's like saying you don't like Jesus.
Right.
I mean, he's kind of just there for you. He's not going to badmouth you. He's going to grab, Zimmer.
Oh yeah. And he'll never take you too high or too low.
No, so you can't help but think he's probably a stand-up guy. You probably trust your children with him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he probably could. I know he donates a lot to him. I was reading an article about him and his wife, and they have like their own foundation, and they do all kinds of charity work.
Yeah. Because
they're very much connected to that part of their life. But he's really been the ultimate businessman in the history of the NFL.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, looking at the total number, he's made $400 million,
$180 million from the Vikings. In 6 years.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
So now total after this contract, he's at like $408 million or whatever he's made in contract money. And he's the same age as us. That's the crazy part.
What's worked for him too, and this is unwritten, under talked about, kind of under the radar. Mm-hmm. His durability. Yeah, he's coming off of the ACL or the Achilles, which I don't blame the Vikings for being a little bit like, hey, we're not ready to give you all kinds of guaranteed money and to sign you super long term because you're going to be in 4 years, you'll be 39 years old.
With an Achilles injury.
With an Achilles coming off of it. Like, give us a break here. You already live here. You like it here. You have the best receiver to throw to. I feel like the Vikings played it right.
Yes, they did what they could without stretching too much.
We still don't know the terms yet about what they offered exactly.
No.
That's not come out. I wish that would come out. Just so that, but maybe they held it back because it was maybe so much less than.
Well, the last I had heard is there was talks of a 2 to 3 year agreement from the Vikes, and they were only willing to do 1 year. And I don't know if it was a 1 year, $35 million, just to see.
Well, I just read his quote at his press conference with Atlanta. He said it seemed like the Vikings were year to year And
which is valid right now.
And the Falcons were long-term retire as a Falcon.
Yeah.
I think he was looking for one last contract to say, this is my end of my playing career. I don't want to be this. I'm here, I'm there. And his kids are in school. And I think he does value like being settled in a spot.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
So,
he said that even when he originally wanted to be a 1 quarterback team. Then he went to the Vikes, and of course it was a 2. He wanted to retire here. But, you know. I mean,
And it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that his wife's family lives there.
Still lives in Atlanta.
Yeah, and and he's kind of a southern he's got kind of southern morals and values where I can see, and not that North doesn't have some, morals and values.
Yeah.
But I mean, he kind of has that.
It makes sense. I can picture it.
He fits in that area, so good for him. But that contract is
That's crazy. Arthur Blank.
with 1 playoff win. He's not like, you're not signing Mahomes. You're not signing you're not signing Josh Allen. You're not signing, I mean, even like Josh Allen, he's not won a Super Bowl, but still like he's won multiple playoff wins.
Yeah. So we're talking 1.
Yeah.
So he has 1 more playoff win than now our new, our new 1-year quarterback,
Yeah, another 1 year wonder.
who I still have a feeling that he doesn't even. I bet he doesn't even start week 1. That's my guess. That's my prediction. So we'll segue in. The Vikings signed Sam Darnold to a 1-year, $10 million deal.
7 was it? No, 10.
10.
Because the $7 million was to Aaron Jones. Yeah,
Yep.
we'll get to that in a second. But
And
Sam Darnold, go ahead.
So he was a 3rd overall pick in 2017. 7 years, right?
Yeah, 3rd overall pick. I don't even know if that, he's 26.
So that wouldn't even be that then.
I think it's 2021.
So only a few years.
Double check that on your phone,
Yeah,
because
so
he's not been that long. The Jets selected him 3rd overall. There's some nice highlights of him where you can see him escape. He's got some escapability, and he can get out of the pocket.
He was a 3rd overall selection in
19?
2018.
18, okay. So we're
Went to USC.
yep.
Then picked by the Jets, then played for the Panthers, and now the one is.
And he was highly regarded for the USC. I mean, usually USC pumps out some pretty good quarterbacks. You can't be some slum and play at USC as quarterback. So,
no, absolutely not.
So when he was picked, I can see why 3rd overall, which we'll get to that connection in a little bit here before we talk about what the Vikings should do for their draft. But a guy who has mobility. He's 26. He's kind of a journeyman. Maybe he hasn't. Once again, we were talking to this last week. We have a setup with Minnesota with Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson, and anybody else with a sin at the end of their name can play for us. And then now with Aaron Jones and the North Carolina guy,
Ty Chandler,
and then two of the best offensive tackles in the game. You think like maybe he hasn't had the right setup yet.
That's what.
Yeah.
What's his? Not Mark Schlereth. Maybe Mark. I don't like him, but Mark Schlereth was talking about how he kind of the same type of deal. The bummer is that's the same type of deal and same talk with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
He went team to team to team to team.
But Josh Dobbs came in the middle of the season, and Josh Dobbs also didn't fit our system.
No, and I feel like Darnold is more.
He has escapability, but he's more of a pocket passer. So that's more of our system that we have in place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyways.
And there's so many people, like we just talked about, there's so many people that are just in absolute panic mode, thinking that Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the future. That's not what the intention is by doing a 1-year deal with Sam Darnold.
No, and then you see all these tweets and stuff, and it brings me to a new segment we're going to start adding to in our, and it's not brought to you by any sort of drink.
No mamitas.
Mamitas, not mamitas, but it's brought to you by yours,
The boys at the Public Course Golf Podcast.
And our brand new mics.
Yes, and our new mics.
Our new mics sponsor this one.
Yep.
Get your mind out of the bunker.
Out of the bunker.
Get it out of the bunker because you're so full of sand.
Mm-hmm. Your ears are filled with sand.
Yeah.
Your nose is filled. You're not even thinking straight.
Think of all the substitutions. Get your mind out of the bunker. Your ears are your mind is full of sand.
So we'll go with sand.
Yeah, not and you're so buried in it that you don't even know. Come up for air once here.
Yeah, right.
Because
think about it a little bit.
To say that, I saw a tweet from a well-known, and I'm not going to call him out because maybe he'll like our podcast eventually, but basically saying, hey, look, we're going back to the yesteryear of days of Matt Castle, the quarterback carousel of the Vikings.
Yeah.
Where you have Culpepper, who did a good job, then you have the quarterback carousel, Sam Bradford, you got Case Keenum, you got Teddy Bridgewater, you got these.
Pepper Favre in there.
And then Favre was consistent for a year and a half, basically.
Yep.
and then you're still kind of peppering around guys, and then you get Cousins. And for all the people that hate Cousins, at least he was a 6-year quarterback who pretty much gave you consistency of a winning team, a team that can compete.
A competitive team every single year.
And made Justin Jefferson be
what he is.
What he is. And probably he has that talent himself, but still, someone who has incredible timing, So basically those tweets that are like, now we have Darnold, and that's what we're doing again, and then we'll have Darnold for a year, and then we're going to have then we're going to probably pick up, Joe Flacco when he's 47 years old, and then we'll pick up, then we're going to go back to, Brad Johnson will come out of retirement, and then we're just going to bring these old guys in and just see what happens.
1-year deals.
And in the case of Darnold, he's not old, but I mean, people that are kind of retreads.
Yeah, he's a journeyman.
The Minnesota Twins' way of picking up a new slugger, 40 home runs 7 years ago. Maybe he's been on the IR every year, and he's hit 1 home run, but 7 years ago he hit 40.
He might bring it back.
He's being the Minnesota. But so I see where they get that from, but it's like, come on, we're the 11th pick. Justin Jefferson is on our team still, and he said, even though we traded Kirk Cousins, it has no bearing on his contract extension for the Vikings. If that's the case, then there is a plan.
And that plan is going to be the draft.
And that's where we're like, we can get back to some of our other free agent signings, but actually because of our Aaron Jones,
which is huge,
and because of bolstering our defense to the free agency a little bit, that's setting the stage for a quarterback being taken in the first round for the Vikings.
Yep. And I think they go, this is my prediction. I'm going to lay it right here. Originally, there was talk of the New England trade, or the New England pick. They picked 3rd overall, but they got rid of Mac Jones. So I'm going to assume they're going to probably try to go.
Well, they got Jacoby Brissett.
Yep. But I feel like that's kind of the same type of deal as we're doing.
It's like,
so you're going to have Drake May or Jaden Daniels be 2 and 3. I really was hoping for Drake May, and maybe we'll still make some crazy move to 3, and New England moves to 5, and there's a lot of shifting around. But I'm going to guess we'll move up to the 5th spot with the Chargers because they don't need a quarterback.
No,
they did just let Mike Williams go today.
I did not see that. Yeah.
Just today he got let go. So I would assume Marvin Harrison Jr. will go 4 to Arizona. So I'm going to guess the top dog receiver will be out. So I'm going to guess the Vikings move into the 5th spot with the Chargers and take J.J. McCarthy. And I'm going to guess that Sam Darnold does not start a regular season game for the Vikings. I'm going to guess J.J. McCarthy is the starter from week 1.
So this reminds me of a little bet I had at conferences with some of my fellow teachers pre-winter, like right when winter was going to start. We were like, okay, how many snow days are we going to get this year? How many early outs? And people were like, we're going to get 4 snow days, and we're going to get 3 snow days, 2 early outs. And then we had our conferences recently.
Did you have any snow days?
We've had 1 snow day. So your prediction, it made me think of that when you said that. But I mean, it's not as far-fetched as the snow days. But maybe Darnold doesn't start for us. There's 2 things I like to say about that. One being that is McCarthy gaining more speed than Drake May? I don't know.
Maybe.
I've heard people that are really falling in love with McCarthy now.
Yep.
And if that's the case, is our new quarterback coach who used to coach with North Carolina
with Drake May? He was his high school coach.
His high school coach. Is that telling of what we're trying to do?
I would be all about getting Drake May.
Sure.
We talked about it last week.
Or let's say that steam about McCarthy coming up and coming is more about the fact that quarterbacks are the new shiny toy to always draft at the beginning of the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe even Penix and some of those guys go at the end of the round. Who knows how many quarterbacks could be taken in the first round? This might be a record.
Well, and there's talk
or in the top 10 even.
Right.
So then we talked back about Christian Ponder. So my other question is, I like McCarthy, and I think Viking fans would be excited about getting any quarterback at 11 or earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't as excited about. They were also excited back when we took Ponder, and that turned out to be a real bad thing. And Darnold was a third overall pick. So it's like, what? It's kind of a crapshoot. 50% it's going to work out, 50% it's not, really.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So Quasy's going to live and die by this pick.
By letting Cousins walk.
Yep.
And this pick will make, like we were texting about this, this is going to make his career.
Yep.
Make or break it.
And how many decisions are set up that way where you know that going into it? Because sometimes people get axed later on, and it was because they can trace it back to this decision.
Yeah.
But they know it's like we know ahead of time now that this is his make or break pick.
I did just read yesterday or today. I think it was yesterday that a lot of this is going to be KOC's choice as a quarterback, as an offensive-minded coach. That this is going to be his baby, if you will.
Makes sense. I mean, he's a quarterback whisperer. I did see a tweet where he's worked with a lot of different quarterbacks in his career, and some successful, some not so successful. So it's like you're working with somebody who's. It's not Zimmer making this decision,
right?
It's somebody who played the position and has had
knows what it takes. So I don't know, if you can combine Kwesi's mind, KOC's mind, and then now even oddly enough with having what's his nuts?
McCown.
Yeah, Josh McCown.
Yeah.
Like having those three together, I don't know.
And we were talking about Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. It's all thought of like it wasn't just as much as Kirk Cousins was probably having conversations with Atlanta before the tampering period was over.
Yeah.
The Vikings were also having conversations about if Kirk does this, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to do. It's not like, oh, Kirk's going to leave us now?
Now what?
Oh, now what are we going to do?
No, we said it last week. There's probably 5 contingencies in place.
And all this is going to happen before the draft happens. Because there's no way, you have to know that this is what I'm doing and I'm getting to this. I don't think the trade happens that night.
No, they'll know about it before.
Yeah.
And then it'll all be in place to go to number 3 with New England or 5 with the Chargers. That'll all be ready to go.
And I think with knowing the people we have and having to say, well, if you don't trust them, it's who we have.
Yeah.
So, and we said there's some quarterback whisperers, if you want to say, in our organization.
Yeah.
You have to believe that with the way these quarterbacks in this draft are performing, I wonder if that's what made it easier for them to say, no, we're not going to bump up to 2 years for you, Kirk. We're not going to give you $75 million guaranteed for 2 years and all of it guaranteed.
Yeah.
Which, whatever it might be, because we believe that in our draft we have the opportunity to get, because we feel confident about the quarterbacks that are
This is
available.
a big quarterback class.
Because I think if it wasn't that, I think they would have probably fought harder for Kirk.
Oh, yeah. And I think if this draft was next year's draft or even last year's draft, I don't think we're having the same conversation. I think he's extended here. He's here for another 3 years.
And they say we're going to chance it with his Achilles, and we're going to say Jefferson's happy, and we're going to probably take a pay cut on our ability to sign other players. We probably don't get these defensive guys that we got.
No, and we still lose. Hunter's probably still gone.
Yep.
Just announced, just right before the podcast, you had read Harrison Smith restructured his contract to come back and probably play, I would guess, one last year.
And he was serviceable enough last year, and he's one that's going to be, his name is going to be in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even if he would have left this year and really chased a ring, he still would have been.
But you know what he would have been? And probably before Kevin Garnett gets his number retired for the Timberwolves.
I'm hoping that the moment Glenn Taylor is...
hands the reins.
Because even so, Glenn Taylor's going to keep 20%, even after the fact. When this is all done, he's still a 20% owner. But the moment that he's not a majority owner, I am hoping to the lords above that 21's hanging in the rafters.
There's not been one more influential player on a specific franchise. You could argue in all of our franchises that we have, that we're lucky enough to have, the 4 major sports.
Yep.
You make the argument that his effect on that team is bigger than any other player on their own team.
Oh, 100%.
That we have in our history of our sports.
Because let's pick one. So for the Twins, you probably say Joe Mauer.
Or Kirby Puckett.
Kirby Puckett, yes.
They're probably top 2, and they're probably head-to-head in the bracket challenge for Twins. And Killebrew.
Yeah. So I guess there's a couple for the
There's a couple, but I mean, what era? And the Twins have been around for a lot longer, so you can probably find more guys. The Timberwolves haven't.
No.
And really, there hasn't been anybody except probably Anthony Edwards.
He's the next one.
But he's still young. Who's been like the face, the changer,
guy.
the guy. But Killebrew's already his number's already retired. Puckett's number's already retired. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
Because there are those people.
Mauer's already retired.
Yeah. So
and he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So So who's been retired for the Wolves? Malik Sealy because he died.
I think that's the.
I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing.
No, but I think the only jersey hanging at the Target Center is Malik Sealy's jersey.
Yeah.
Which, rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
It should be there.
It should be there. But I mean, as far as who's we've been Timberwolves are not they're younger, but they still have been around
What,
for
89?
Yeah.
It was late 80s, right?
Yeah, so they still have they've been around long enough, like basically our age, like 35, 34, 30.
That should
30
be long
plus
enough
years.
you'd have a couple, right?
Yes. Yep.
But until I think you have Kevin Garnett, and then you have the next. Then you have Ant is going to be the next one.
Yep.
And the next closest I would say is Towns.
Yeah, because he's. So it's just it's. I mean, I know we went on a tangent there, but I do feel like, relating that back to the football talk with Harrison Smith, the Vikings are really good about putting those guys in, and they seem to care about. They get those guys in right away.
Yeah.
And once they retire, they when you can all see as fans like. So having Harry the Hitman back, it's just that presence in the locker room is just going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And the guys that we've signed, it feels like we're making good decisions. I mean, Aaron Jones, 6,000 career rushing yards
For $7 million.
and he was like the reason why the Packers won their playoff game.
Yeah.
last year.
He's absolutely diced us up
Yes.
the last few years.
So him and Ty Chandler is a 1-2, and he could be a 1-1 or a 1.5, 1.5. I mean, you might say they're equal depending upon how they do in the offseason. I mean, Jones probably has the upper hand for experience, but Ty is younger.
Ty is a stud.
So you could say those two guys running the show there in the backfield, but in today's NFL standards, you don't have one workhorse anymore, one bell cow running back.
Feed the horse.
Which is why there's more feed the horse. Which is why there's more quarterbacks taken, not running backs. Speaking of feed the horse, that'd be a cool shirt.
That would be a really
Because
cool.
we used to go to. So my parents have had season tickets with my grandpa for the Vikings in our family since the Metrodome opened up, and so and I've been good friends with Mikey here for quite a few years, probably half my life, and got to go to a lot of games. And in the Metrodome era, there's a big guy in the back
This
right
is
behind us,
so awesome.
and he had a real like kind of guttural, growly type voice. Feed the horse. And he would say, because it was Mo, or give it to Mo. Mo Williams and Adrian Peterson. Feed the horse. So
Just all game.
and it was always
game.
his cheer. He would never say anything else.
Nope.
Nope.
All game.
Yeah. And it'd be 3rd and 12. Feed the horse. I mean, it wouldn't matter what it is, So, anyways, feed the horse.
Feed the horse. That would
Yeah.
be a cool shirt.
That'd be a good thing. You feed the horse.
Right?
So
if you're looking for a new shirt, you can head to publiccoursegolf.com, pick up a lid. PJ's got on our Augusta hat.
it's kind of my go-to right now because I don't really have any green hats, so I'm kind of excited about this one.
When we're approaching St. Patty's Day on Sunday, then we're
Ooh.
going to be moving into Masters beginning of April.
Oh.
So so we're going to make a little bit of a segue here. We're going to kind of bounce around. We're going to do all the things that we would talk about on the golf course or in the clubhouse at the golf course. And we're going to do a little golf talk here for just a minute. Season 2 of Full Swing just came out. It just came out.
I have not watched that, which seems like I'm a fraudulent member of
that show.
Maybe you're going to look for a new podcast host.
I'm
But
gonna put
all I can do is watch Yellowstone with my wife because I'm so damn busy.
Check a job application on Indeed if you're looking to be a podcast.
Well, it's a high-paying job. Trust me. A lot of benefits.
Great health benefits.
Yes.
So we like to drink around here.
Yeah, we do. And we get to play free golf sometimes.
We do.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm behind. So take the lead here.
So season 1 was great. It covered kind of individual golfers throughout the 8 episodes. You learn a little bit more about some of the bigger names and also some of the
Is this
rookies.
like Hard Knocks but for golf?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, the first season, you really kind of followed along. JT was a big one, which was cool.
Justin Thomas?
Yeah. A lot of
For
people
those that don't know who JT, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody may thought Justin Timberlake. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and he's
Yeah.
a big golfer, too, actually.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that, with Justin Thomas, kind of look at him as, like, a spoon-fed country club boy. But I've always liked him. After watching season 1, I did really... You kind of get a new respect for him.
Okay.
But I've always been a big Rickie Fowler guy.
Yeah, he's
Love
got a cool
Rickie.
style. He kind of represents our generation. He's
Yeah.
he's our age. The flat bill hats came out. They were cool, like bright colors, the orange, the new Puma brand. He kind of had the young but older look too, like
Yeah.
trying to stay young but look old, trying to stay hip now with it and wow, kind of that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I feel like he could have worn like Abercrombie and Fitch or American Eagle, or you could wear, think about the styles that are.
Oh, yeah.
He had the still hair, like he could be like a.
Yeah, kind of the boy band
He could be
hair.
like a boy band, or you could be like a punk guy too if he wanted to, or
Yeah.
he's just kind of. And he changed the style, status quo, not the dad hats. It's the flat bill.
The flat
Anyways,
bills.
Yeah.
And so I'm on episode 2 of season 2, and they follow Rickie Fowler.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about him. I guess you could kind of say this is the start of season 2 of our podcast, right?
It is, yeah.
You know, we had a bit of a break, so we're going to say this is season 2, episode 3.
We didn't have a website. Now we have a
No,
website.
now we got a
We're
website.
staying committed to trying to build our
brand,
our
if you
brand
will.
and our subscribers, and trying to get more. We feel more comfortable with what we're doing too. So
Yeah, so I think this is season 2 of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just watched season 2, episode 2 of, and it followed Rickie. It talked about his long, he had that long, it was 4,000 days, some crazy amount of time.
Oh yeah.
That he didn't win, and I have such a new respect for that man, and it was so cool to watch. Where when you see it recap the moment he won at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit. And that, I'm going to try to find it so we can blow it up and put it on the wall back here. Of when
we talked about
he's
this.
standing on his putter and
he
just takes a deep breath.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you see that part of the show, it almost brings a tear to your eye. To you can feel his relief and just oh my God, it's such a cool show to watch. So I'd be curious to any of you guys if you've watched season 1 or season 2.
Can you tell me what platform that's on?
Netflix.
It is, okay.
So it's a Netflix original. And so if any of you guys have watched it, maybe drop your favorite episode down below, or if you have a favorite golfer you're hoping to see featured on it, drop that in the comments down below as well.
With the way golf is now, and there's a lot of talk of we need to make this be a merger. We need to make golf be unified again.
Well,
it seems like that's where everyone's going to, and I think enough with the bickering and stuff with which they were founded in their bickering. I'm not saying it's not like a bickering where it's come on, you guys, grow up. There's reasons why there's rifts.
So the first 2 episodes of season 2 all talk about the creation of Live, and that ended season 1. Really talked about Live and the golfers going to Live, and even it highlighted Dustin Johnson going to Live and why he went there. And so it did that, but now the start of it's a part 1, part 2 is the first 2 episodes, and they talk about the PGA and Live merger, and how this one follows Rory. Episode 1 follows Rory,
who just had a massive drive.
It is wild to hear they were so blindsided by all of it. Where he even said during one of the press conferences, I feel like the sacrificial lamb for the PGA, where he's I went to bat for everything, and then now the Jay Monahan or Montague, however you say it, made this deal, and he's I literally feel like I just was swept out from under. I don't know. It's such a cool show to watch. So even if you guys aren't huge golf people, maybe you've gotten into golf, you're starting to get into it, it'd be a show that I think would be really cool to watch and for you to watch as well.
Oh yeah. And he's as his partner here on the set, someone who doesn't watch the show. But I'm also I'm trying to please a lot of different people, and Mike is too. But so I have to kind of make that a priority.
The only time I really get to watch mine, I watch mine when I ride bike.
That's what
I work out.
I got to do it too.
So otherwise,
we have the same exercise bike.
Yeah,
so,
it's a knockoff Peloton.
Yeah, knockoff Peloton. It works nice.
It does. It works good. And it's I asked Betsy right when season 2 dropped. I was so thoughts about this? She's that's more of a you thing.
Sure.
So I said, all right. So now I've watched both. That's kind of the duration that I've worked out for both. It was 50 minutes in today's episode. I just watched episode 2 today. It's 48 minutes long. So I biked the whole time today. I just biked through the whole episode, and then when it was done, I was done.
Nice. That's a good idea.
So,
I'm gonna start. I think that's my new goal now when I start biking is watching that show.
It's a really cool show. So cool. It's
well, we talk about we spend a lot of time with we were talking last episode where we talked so much about other sports than golf, but we were saying hey, golf's coming in back into style. But a big part of why we call it public course golf is because when you're on the golf course, you talk about your shots and stuff, but a lot of it is just what's happening in the sports world or with your families, and so we got to bring up
talking
this
about
stuff.
Booze and cocktail,
so that's got to be a big emphasis of what we want to talk about too. and then tied back to golf. So, and like I said, that little snippet of get your mind out of the bunker. We're going to expand on that because, gosh, if you're fans of the Common Man program and you watch on KFan and you watch the Preposterous Statement Tournament, and that's hilarious. There are so many takes where people have their minds in the bunker.
You're right.
So we're gonna bring that going, and then we have slang terms.
We got slang terms will come back.
Yep.
We're gonna probably have to bust back out tic-tac-toe, and we haven't played that in a long time.
And I gotta show off my new golf bag.
Yeah.
I mean, so my buddy here, my birthday's near coming upon us, and I'm sure everybody's been anxiously waiting for my birthday out there. But Mikey here surprised me with a new golf bag because my golf bag was torn to shreds. First off, it's 14 years old. Second, we played golf in some pouring rain.
We've played in a lot of rain.
And where that shredded my golf bag. So I'm looking forward to maybe that'll also provide some luck, getting that gear going.
You don't need the luck in tic-tac-toe.
Not with the egret. Not with the egret.
Dude, he is blessed by the egret.
We trust, We're gonna fly like an egret. Not fly like an eagle. Fly like an egret.
In
15 yards.
Onto the green.
Fly right into the
clubhouse
for a 19th hole. Sponsored by High News.
And Tito's.
So
I've been on a huge Tito's and tonic kick. It's just
you kind of show me the ropes too, but I think I like it, but I just gotta kind of keep it in my palate. But
the lime's always you're not a lime you don't put limes in it.
Well,
that's a nice addition to it.
I guess I like lime sometimes, but it just gets to be too much. I don't know. Maybe I just need to
even a smaller wedge.
Just
enough to
kind of pitching wedge of a lime.
Yeah.
A sand wedge of a lime.
Little 52 degree in there.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
'Cause I'd say this is a 60 degree wedge here.
Perfect. That's what's temperature outside.
It is amazing. So it's gonna be
but
cold.
like as you guys watch this, so when this episode drops, it's not gonna be nice anymore.
No, this one will drop on Friday.
Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, so
and
it'll
today
drop
was
Friday.
69 degrees, 70 degrees, and I think it's supposed to rain and be like 40s pretty soon. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna fall back to kind of to earth here for March in Minnesota, but I don't know. Wedgewood's been open for 2 weeks ish. Greenlee and Oberly is open. Arrowhead or Good Shot is open. They're open for golf. I mean, it's everywhere's.
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about it really because if any snow falls, it's gone anyways.
It's gone. We're not going to freeze. We're out of.
If it is cold, it's not any colder than what it is towards the end of the golf season.
Anyway.
Going into the fall. And,
No.
We were playing golf in the 48, 45 degree weather. Well, if it gets to be that cold now, that's the same temperature.
Yeah. Oh, I think in the extended forecast, the coldest day is 38 degrees.
Yeah. So people are out there playing no matter what, and so it's good for business for them, and maybe that's how they recoup too as they expand the game of golf, making having a longer season.
Right.
So it's not just everybody's out, and maybe that expands the game for people who want to try it out.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if there's any stats about that at the end of our season 2 of public course golf. If we ever know about, because it was so nice early, was there a better turnout? Was there more money made? Is there a more interest level in golf? Maybe there'll be some articles published about that.
Right. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
I would assume numbers, especially in Minnesota, because we are
That's what I'm saying in Minnesota. I mean, all over the country, people play golf where it's nice all year round. But
Yeah.
I'm saying like in Minnesota.
I would think that it would spike big time.
Yep.
I mean, I know a lot of people that have moved from. I think we talked about this in season 1. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that played softball. That was their thing. As they got a little bit older, they moved out of that, and now they're getting into golf. Yeah. There's a lot of people around here that have made the switch from softball to golf.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that's just going to.
Well, right now you can't play softball. I mean, softball leagues probably can't start until probably a certain time based upon organizations and things. So golf is open earlier, so now you're playing golf.
Right. It's easier on your body, and
you can play golf in one of the new shirts that we have at a public course. You can also wear one of these hats at a golf course.
Yep.
And you can sport these threads, and people will ask you what it's about, and you can be somebody who's hip now with it. And I think I said that now twice.
I like that.
That's kind of a cool statement. But I mean, people like to have kind of something that's not everybody has.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, oh, you're wearing the same Under Armour shirt that I have. Well, no, these are kind of one of a kind.
These are one of a
until
kind
they
right
get
now.
to be too big.
And then it's going to be like, oh, you're another public course golf guy.
One of those guys.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys want to be one of those guys.
Right, exactly.
And if you want that merch, you head to publiccoursegolf.com.
We also have some new sponsors coming up pretty soon about some different things we have. We've been some products that we've been given to show and kind of promote. So you're going to see that we have one that's sitting
here, ready, rare and ready to go.
Bring that up another time, and you can help you with your when you start hitting the golf clubs again, and your body's like, wait, I'm not sure how this. I'm a little stiff. I'm a little sore. That's this new product. So your next product we're going to promote. So.
Yep. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have some of that, and obviously we said last week Wedgwood's back on board, so now we're going to be able to get out there. There's going to be some really fun stuff here for season 2. If you want to see last week's episode, click the little button right here.
Yeah, we harken back to a lot of this stuff, and it's good. Watch it. I mean, even if you're not really paying attention if you're not paying attention to it the entire time, if you're listening here and there and doing other things, sometimes the tidbits come through, and you're like, right. I've had some buddies that have said that before. So give us a shot.
Yeah, and it's all relatable. Kind of everyday. We're everyday dads. We're both dads, and I mean,
trying to make ends meet, doing things we can do.
It's just one of those things that it's just kind of everyday talk. So again, if you dig it, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the red subscribe button to not miss the next episode of
Season 2 of Public Course Golf, baby.
Bye.